Well, look who's here with me in the studio in New York City. Border Czar. His name is Tom Homan. Tom, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I want to get right at it. Congresswoman AOC taunted you at a town hall about deportations. I know you're smiling now, so just watch this.
When we first did one of these seminars, Tom Homan, then acting director of ICE, said that he was going to threaten to refer me to the DOJ because I'm using my free speech rights in order to advise people of their constitutionally guaranteed protections. And he may want to do it again today. And to that I say, come for me.
What would you like to respond to that with?
Well, first of all, I'm happy to live in her head rent-free every day. That's a pleasure. Second of all, she can claim she's educating people to their constitutional rights, but we're not fooled. She's telling people how to evade law enforcement, how to evade the nice arrests. So, you know, and it's what she's actually doing is educating people, not only to evade law enforcement, but how to get prosecuted. Because you're illegal alien in the United States and you have a final order removal, it is actually a crime to try to hinder your removal, to take steps to not be removed when the judge is already removed. So if you don't open the door, you don't want to answer questions, you don't want to help supply travel documents to go to your home country as ordered by a federal judge, that's a violation of United States Code 1253. So if people want to keep going down that road and not opening the door, not answering questions and hindering their removal, we're going to prosecute them first. We're going to put them in jail. When they get out of jail, then we'll deport them. So we're going to enforce the law.
Okay.
So Thomas Homan showed up on Fox News and dropped what might be one of the most direct, unapologetic responses to her immigration theatrics that we've heard in a while. This wasn't a remote interview. This wasn't over Zoom. He was in the studio, smiling like a man who just read every one of his haters' tweets and found them entertaining. He basically says, look, she's not educating people on their rights. She's telling them how to avoid ICE, how to dodge arrests, how to get around immigration law. And he breaks it down in a way that's honestly hard to argue with. If a federal judge orders you removed, and you start telling people, don't open the door, don't answer, don't help with paperwork, that's not activism, that's literally a federal crime.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Homan, you began as the Trump ICE acting director at the end of January of 2017, is that correct? I think the date is January 30th, 2017. Does that sound more or less
Yes.
right? And you recall on your first month on the job, Operation Crosscheck, which was a large-scale immigration enforcement action across multiple cities. Do you recall that?
Not specifically, but we did a lot of operations like that.
It was a very significant operation targeting communities in multiple states starting on February 6th, 2017. The ICE officials at the time said this was about going after, and I quote, criminal aliens and making us less safe. But they said that this was about making us more safe. But in my community of Austin, Texas, the majority of people arrested and separated from their families had no criminal conviction at all. Do you recall this?
I don't specifically recall that, but there's no prerequisite in immigration law that says you
I understand, but you are
to be arrested for being in the country illegally.
I understand that. Your ICE spokeswoman at the time said that, quote, the purpose of the operation was removing from the streets criminal aliens and other threats to the public. But then a majority of people arrested had no criminal conviction. Does that square up for you?
I don't recall that. I find that.
I have another question for you, sir. Are you aware that your chief of staff, when they were asked this question, wrote emails asking agents to come up with, quote, top 3 egregious cases in order to deflect criticism? And if there weren't 3 egregious cases, go include a case from a different city. Are you aware of that?
No, I'm not.
So you're not aware of what your chief of staff was writing?
I don't know every email he writes. No, I don't.
There was an email directly to you from DHS Secretary Kelly asking for this issue to be addressed. Then, in my city of Austin, Texas, ICE officials were told they failed at this task because the egregious case that they wrote up was from before the time of the operation. Do you recall that?
I recall when I was ICE director, we arrested thousands of criminal aliens.
You're not answering my question. Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time. Do you recall that when you were asked whether this had to do with public safety, that then Agent LaRon Bryant said to federal judge Andrew Austin that the reason for these ICE operations was not related to a safety protocol, but instead was a result of the Travis County, where Austin is, new policy that would target criminal enforcement on immigrants rather than deporting non-criminal immigrants. Do you recall this?
No.
So you don't remember that Agent LaRon Bryant said under oath that under you, in your first month as director, that there was a targeted operation at a city because of a policy choice from a local elected official. You don't recall that?
I had 20,000 people under me. I don't recall every
You don't recall this
did
from
or
your
said.
first month.
No,
I understand. Let me be clear. The right wing and these so-called Trump border policies have nothing to do with keeping people safe. This is about ripping families apart, arresting immigrants, and blaming someone for our problems so we can ignore the fact that Trump and these right-wing officials are grifters and that Trump is taking millions of dollars from foreign governments to enrich himself. His main policy achievement had nothing to do with the border or migration, but cutting taxes for the rich and the biggest corporations in this country. All the while, the collateral damage is kids being separated from their moms, people in cages, which we can't deny. Mr. Homan sitting here before us said at the CPAC convention, and I quote, he doesn't give a shit about that. And desperate people
that is a wrong
living
statement.
in the shadows,
that is
undocumented.
A lie. You just said something that wasn't true.
Mr. Chairman, would you please stop the witness from interrupting our members?
While legal pathways to migration remain closed and are getting even more closed. Folks here saying they care about sexual assaults by cartels, give me a break. The Republican policies of trying to close legal pathways towards migration is the best blessing that cartels could have ever asked for. By making it harder for people to apply for parole, by making it harder for people to seek asylum, Republican policies are exactly what the cartels would like. Y'all are making the cartels money. Y'all are making the cartels money by trying to slash addiction services, by trying to slash helping people with mental health. Then, yeah, you're helping the cartels. If I was a cartel leader, I would be picking the Republican policies being proposed in H.R. 2 every day of the week. You have people like Governor Abbott saying he would shoot migrants coming across the border if he wouldn't get prosecuted for murder for it. You've got Trump saying immigrants are going to poison the blood of our country. Don't come here and say that you actually care about the safety of those immigrants. If you cared, then we would update our immigration laws for the first time since basically I was born so that people could apply safely and wouldn't have to go to a cartel and wouldn't have to go to a criminal organization. Immigration is a good thing. Immigrants are less likely to commit crime, more likely to start small businesses, help us economically. Sure, the food and the parties are much better with us here, but in our system, we have to open up legal pathways. And let's not say that this is about safety, because every step of the way, your agency lied and said it was about safety while you were separating kids.
Someone's time has expired. To the witnesses, if someone says something that hurts your feelings, just leave it there and don't interrupt the members. Respect their time.
Thomas Homan's position is actually incredibly simple. You don't have to agree with him to understand why he talks the way he talks. This is a guy who spent decades in immigration enforcement. He's not coming from a college campus debate. He's not coming from a think tank. He's coming from the field, from actually carrying out the laws Congress already wrote. And when you watch him talk, you can tell he's a guy who has seen what happens when the system collapses. He's seen what happens when ICE releases someone because they're told to be compassionate, and that person goes out and hurts someone. He's seen families begging for justice after a preventable tragedy. He's seen cases where a removal order was ignored, then ignored again, then ignored a third time until something finally went wrong. That's why Homan talks with that bluntness. It's not because he wants to sound tough. It's because he's been living with the consequences of political indecision and mixed messaging for years. His whole stance can basically be summed up as this: if the law exists, enforce it. If you don't like the law, change it. But until then, I'm doing my job. And honestly, you can disagree with his methods or his tone, but that argument is hard to dispute. Because whether it's immigration or anything else, a country cannot function on selective enforcement. Thanks for watching. Drop a comment. I read as many as I can. Hit subscribe, hit like, and share this if you want more breakdowns like this. I'll catch you in the next video.